So welcome to this session of Feed Your Mind. We're so excited to present this on behalf of Fuse Des Moines Chamber of Commerce. And at this time, I'd like to introduce Holly Jacobson with MediaCom Business. They are our sponsor for the Feed Your Mind series. And I am going to say that I am a proud customer of MediaCom Business. I've been very satisfied with their service. And so, Holly, I'll let you share a few words. You have a few new things you wanted to share about MediaCom.
Yes, good morning, Daniel, and thank you for that. Hey, I just wanted to bring to everyone's attention in regards to we had a few changes in regards to our Wi-Fi. We now have a managed Wi-Fi product, and what that does, it's a web-based customer dashboard is what it has. So it's a business login portal, and so it also gives you the opportunity to use a guest network. So you can divide the network on your own because it's that web-based portal that you could use. It also does come with, you can put in promotional coupons for your customers that come in and use that guest network that you've created. You're able to manage the Wi-Fi a lot better than on our previous Wi-Fi that we had. This is not just a plug in and run router. This is an actual web-based portal that you run, so you can, keep your business separate from what your guests are using in regards to the Wi-Fi. So, and again, that is a 24/7 monitoring on our behalf as well, but it gives you a little bit of peace of mind. And I think that's all I'm going to touch base on. If you have any questions about that, please feel free to reach out to me.
All right, wonderful. Well, thank you, Holly, and thank you to MediaCom Business for being our sponsor today. So now it is my pleasure to introduce Emily Steele to everyone who is in the room with us here today. And Emily is an entrepreneur who is on a creative journey, a mission to help individuals and business owners create a bigger impact. And if you have read her biography on the event page, she has done some very innovative things to gather attention over the years. And Instagram, I think, is going to be one of these innovative things that she's going to share with us today about how we can use the power of Instagram to innovate our own business today. I'm very excited to hear what this conversation is going to be about. I do want to say, as Emily gets started, feel free to type in the chat. I'll be monitoring chat today. So if you need to ask questions that way, I can get those to Emily. And also I'll let Emily decide how she wants to handle questions as well. So Emily, please, we're all here gathered and we are so anxious to hear what you have to say today.
Thank you for that warm welcome and the opportunity to do this remotely. I'm sitting in my childhood bedroom, but you wouldn't know because it looks like, I'm in San Francisco or somewhere way warmer. But I love this opportunity to talk all things social media, specifically Instagram. And my intention is to add a ton of value, ideas, and kind of some structure around what's happening with Instagram in 2021. So got a presentation. Let me just make sure I get my screen shared with you. And if you wouldn't mind dropping in chat what your business name is and what you do, what level of Instagram experience you have, that kind of helps me as well as we go through this. I can kind of take a scroll at some of the things that you do and maybe what industries you're in, that sort of thing. So drop that in chat whenever. Get my screen shared. All right. Okay. We're into the presentation. Okay, so let's get started. Make the most of your time. So hello to everyone. If we haven't met before, which I see a lot of new names here, which makes me super excited. I see some familiar faces, names, and some friends I haven't seen in over a year. So it's good to connect here. But I'm Emily Steele, and I have been in the business marketing game specifically for over 10 years, supporting hundreds of local business owners, a lot of them in Des Moines and a lot of them outside of Des Moines as well as supporting local business owners. I've been building my own local brands along the way. So just to give like a little bit of background, so you know who the heck is talking to you during this time, I started out my journey. I went to Drake, so any Bulldogs, fellow alum here. I thought my journey was always going to be in the nonprofit space, and so I graduated college, biked cross country, raised money for clean water projects in Kenya, and got right into doing a year of AmeriCorps service. And from that year of service, I hopped into the community development world. And so my task as a new employee of the company in a new division was to help bring a couple neighborhood revitalization plans to life. And so got to do that by working with residents in 3 East Side neighborhoods in Des Moines, build a campaign that uh, allowed us to raise money, allowed us to create impact, and really create space to fulfill what the residents of these communities wanted to see in their neighborhoods. And so that really gave me my first experience in building a brand and really using vehicles that were inexpensive to get the word out and what community building means in today's world. So in that process, I was working at this nonprofit and started loving yoga. I think yoga became like really popular maybe in 2014, kind of in the Des Moines area. And so I got certified and I started a brand called Pop Up Yoga DSM because I noticed that yoga wasn't as accessible financially and physically location wise. And so I started this brand and started bringing yoga all across the Des Moines metro to different parks, east, south, north, west side of town, and just started bringing it to different places like the farmers market and to Jasper Winery. Like I'm sure most of you have heard that yoga can be done now with like goats and cats and like you name the animal. I think yoga is being done with it. But yoga is a very popular vehicle to match with different brand experiences. So wineries, breweries, all of the things. So we got to kind of be part of that inception and really introduce people to yoga in a free setting and a fun place and make it accessible, is always free, and give brands an opportunity to see what it looks like to partner with event experiences like ours. So that also gave me an opportunity to dive into social media. Cause I'm like, 22 at the time when I was doing this and have any capital to invest in this company. I was just like, I'm going to see if I can do this using Facebook events, which were kind of newer, and Instagram and email marketing, and then find brand partners and like get the word out. And so that was a little nugget of experience I've had that led me to creating a nonprofit bike ride called the Water Ride. After I biked cross country, I felt pretty like unstoppable. You do something like that and you're like, oh wow, if I could do that, I could do anything. So I did that and came back and was like, I want to continue raising money for clean water. It just can radically improve and support local communities that don't have access to that. So I've been working with a nonprofit for the last 8 to 9 years and have raised enough money to build wells and build a school and support teachers and so many other projects, specifically in this little village called Chapasi, Ghana. And again, using these strategies of social media to get the word out has been such a monumental tool in our tool belt. And some of you may be familiar with my role as the Fem City Des Moines president. So I took over that organization when it was really struggling in 2017 to support women in business. And, I wasn't a business owner. I found these like Pop-Up Yoga was like a nonprofit because I thought that's the only way you could build business. I didn't know anything about for-profit. This nonprofit bike ride, I was working in nonprofit. So I really took a risk. I would say there was a lot of like imposter syndrome. Who am I to start this or relaunch and rebrand this community for women in business? I'm not a woman in business, but I have a lot of enthusiasm. And I was noticing, does anyone remember in 2015, I think Iowa was ranked dead last for businesses owned by women. And that has changed over time. And, Des Moines doesn't represent necessarily Iowa in general, but to me, it like lit something up. And doing that neighborhood development work really showed me that local businesses are like part of the culture and experience in our city. Like people choose to visit different neighborhoods, choose to move here, choose to invite friends here and like visit our community based on this infrastructure of local business and the amazing humans who own the businesses. I think it's remarkable. And my hope was to support it more. Even though I didn't own one, I was like, I want to champion this. It's important to me. So when the opportunity presented itself to take over Fem City Des Moines, I think there were 5 members at that point, and we had the opportunity to grow that brand to 500 members in a year. It was as wild as it sounds. That's a lot of growth. And I got to learn a lot about local business owners, similar to the community here. Like, we get to learn a lot about each other and what we're struggling with and what we need support with. And in that experience, I started doing a lot of consulting for people who are like, how do you build a brand so quickly, like Pop-Up Yoga and Fem City? And I've taken the last few years to really dissect that and formulate it and now teach and implement it for brands. But the final thing I'll share to you on my journey is before the next thing is I created a community called the Hummingbirds. So maybe some of you have heard of that, the Des Moines Hummingbirds. I co-own that with a couple other people in Des Moines, and it's basically a local influencer community that allows us to create buzz for brands using social media. So it's like influencer marketing, but we're taking it to a local level because all of us have influence, no matter if it's like 5 of our Instagram followers or 5,000. If we have a great experience and we want people to know about it, we can use our voice online and in real life to elevate those brands and help people make connections to those. So that's a little bit of the brand journey that has got me to where we're at today and why I'm sitting here talking to you about Instagram. So now my company that I guess I'm kind of presenting through is Love Local. So if you haven't heard of that, we do a lot of different things. We started as just like serving clients one-on-one, helping them with their social, their email, getting some of those digital platforms set up so they could bring in new business and repeat business. We offer online courses for the people who want to DIY it, who aren't ready for agency help or ready for someone to take over, but they want to learn and they want to implement the things that agencies are doing. So we have some of those tools too. A podcast, which is really cool. Eric's on here. I think I don't think Eric's been on my podcast. So you can listen to that if you know Eric. It's called Local to Legend. And we really just want to share stories of people who are building remarkable brands and the people who are experts in their field to help support local business owners. You guys, we are a unique breed. We're not necessarily small business, right? We're local. We operate in specific geographic communities. So my intention with that podcast is continue sharing resources just like you're learning today. So this workshop is another thing we love doing because I think this information people are craving and desiring from like Instagram and Facebook, like things are changing really rapidly. And I'm obsessed with following this and researching and testing. So it's an absolute honor to be able to dissect that and make it relevant and applicable to growing a local business, whether you're service-based, product, event. We've translated a lot of what's happening with the new rollouts of new features and the apps in general to make it accessible for you so you can find success in your local business. So that's in a nutshell what I've done, who I am. So today in this training, masterclass, whatever we want to call it, workshop, you get to learn 5 key things to Instagram success in 2021. And this is different than I would have said a year ago in 2020. So things are really rapidly changing. So this is highly relevant because it's January still. So I'll share those 5 keys. I'll share some outdated strategies since Instagram's been around for a decade. There are things people are still doing that were very relevant in 2015 that aren't at all relevant and maybe have been frustrating to you that you can release, you can pivot, you can, be like, oh, okay, great. I can let go of that. And then the one thing you absolutely need as a local business owner. So we'll go through that today. And I know for sure more than ever before that Instagram is the social media app for local brands. And I know this because of all the testing we've done, all the clients we've worked with, and all of the features that I've rolled out. But if you haven't hung out on Instagram, it's like an app with a lot of different elements that can allow you to be found pretty easily. It can allow your content to get shared really publicly to the point of like virality. Is that how you say that? Of going viral, whatever. You can create content that's like TV, IGTV. You can create short stories and videos. You can share behind the scenes. You can add highlights to act like a website. Instagram is really investing in the features that allow them to compete with like Snapchat. So they have done a lot to make the user experience really great. Obviously, if anyone's watched Social Dilemma, you get it. Like they're trying to get us to stay on the app as long as possible. And they've added these elements that do keep us there, but they keep us engaged with the content that we likely want to see. And like I said here, it's all designed to help people find what and who they will love. And for a local business, this is such a strong outlet that I don't want to try to convince you to use it by any means. I hope you can see possibility by the end of our time together. So just to be super clear, this isn't a training on like how to click the post button or, where the app buttons are, because those are always changing. It's really annoying. You can find all of that on YouTube. All of that's free. I want to dive into really the growth strategy. So how can you use Instagram to grow your business, like from a sales standpoint to community collaborations to causes you want to align with to business friends you want to find. This is what we're going to dive into today. So I think this is really important to know because depending on how long you've been in business, this is a brand new concept that has never been available before. So for the first time ever, you have direct access to your community of potential buyers and existing customers. I haven't found anything quite like Instagram. Twitter's kind of there, but not even Facebook, not email marketing, not an amazing website can do what Instagram allows you to do by directly communicating with people really quickly, really easily through comments, DMs, and the things we'll talk about today. It's amazing. If you've been in the business game for a while, like we're used to maybe some of the intro products you tried were like billboards, right? And in the billboard, you have the opportunity to reach a lot of people and have a lot of visibility and it's good stuff, but you don't get to talk with someone, right? In Instagram, well, the Instagram world, you get to communicate with your customers and with prospects really quickly. They don't have to get out of the app and email you. It all happens in the app. So this training is really for you if you operate in a local market, which I'm assuming if you're part of this chamber, like you operate in a local market, or if you want to start tapping into a local market even more. So some of the people who have attended our trainings like have an Etsy shop, and Etsy, you can sell products all over, but they really want to tap into where they live. So that has been really neat to see people use this like e-commerce model and still tap into and invest in a local market. And two, like it's for you if you're willing to build real relationships with people on the internet. I think 2020 has taught us that it's almost a necessity to do that. And what I love is like you have this space, the chamber, to cultivate relationships inside of chat here, like private messaging people, inside the community in general that the chamber provides. We have apps and tools like Facebook groups and Instagram DMs where we can really continue building real relationships with people. And that for me, like what a luxury. I have a 1-year-old. So most of my year last year was me networking from my DMs and just like getting to know potential clients and how I could support the community right there in my sweatpants, like at whatever time. And so I think as long as you're willing to look at Instagram as a place to network and build relationships, it will change the dynamic of how the app can serve and support your business. So ultimately, to put it very simple, what I'm going to teach you today is find your people and invest in your people. It's very like business ideology, I suppose, but allowing Instagram to be the place where you find new customers, new friends, new business allies, those sort of things, and then how to invest in them, and just repeat that cycle over and over and over again. So the first key out of the 5 we mentioned earlier to creating Instagram success for yourself in 2021 is being customer centric. So when you think about Instagram, a lot of times people think like, oh, I have to map out all my content. I need to talk about my upcoming promotion, this product, like this, all of the things that are about me and what I do and my promotional event calendar, me. But the thing that I've seen shift just slightly is when you create content that's for your best customer. So what is your customer interested in? What does he want to learn about? What does she need to hear today? What makes her laugh? What brands do they follow locally? What are they sharing on their Instagram? What do they read? What do they wear? What do they do? You can literally find all of this on Instagram if someone has a public profile. That's super helpful in the market research that you can do. Third, like what does this customer need to know before he books a call or stops in your shop? What does your most loyal customer care about seeing from you? And how can they become more connected with you as the owner and your values, your favorite shops, your beliefs? So when you create a presence for your customer and make it really customer centric, it's saying like, how do I add value and like become part of their everyday life? So if they're popping over to my profile, they see like, oh, I just posted a new coffee shop I just visited. And you know that your customers love coffee shops. They are like big oat milk fans, at least oat milk latte fans, like I am. So if I ever find an oat milk latte in town that I know like my followers would like, you bet, I'm talking about it and I'm tagging the local brand. So I do that because I know that my audience cares about finding that next brand experience in their own local community, which for all of us is Des Moines. So that customer centric view is, if you can think about building content that helps deepen relationships with your customer, I think you will find Instagram to be allow you to build a little bit more depth in your business brand journey. So, yeah, the difference between customer centric and maybe not customer centric is really thinking about, I don't know if you've heard the phrase edutainment, but it's taking education and entertainment and kind of mixing them together. Whether that's in just like simple posts and using content and copy to keep someone really educated about your core competency or your core offering and what you do better than everyone or different than everyone, and making it a little bit fun. Right? People don't necessarily follow boring stuff or things they already know. So, how do you put a little bit of a spin on something to make it your own? Like, we all have our own voice and our own perspective. That's where edutainment can really be beneficial. And so, the difference is that versus always posting store hours and store updates. Elevating others versus self promotion. One of my big ideologies and beliefs is that when you elevate others, you elevate yourself. So when you show up and elevate people through tagging brands, sharing in your stories, local brands that, you know, whether you're working with them or just think they're awesome, that's different than always talking about how awesome you are, right? Like, you think you're awesome, hopefully, right? Or your product is, because you're in business, or because you like your product or you like your core offering, you think it's great. I hope you do. So we want to talk about it, but we want other people to talk about you more than you talk about yourself. And we'll get to that in a little bit. The difference is having conversational types of content versus treating Instagram like a giant billboard where you schedule everything and just post and ghost. And sharing connection content versus never showing your face. People do business with people in local communities, so it's important that you integrate who you are and your face into your content. So this side you see on the left builds trust, it deepens relationships, it generates referrals, and it puts your customer first. The only downside to this that I tell people is that it does take longer. It takes longer to create this type of content, but I think you're here because you want to learn how to use Instagram to increase your sales and visibility and all of the things that go with paying attention and showing up on this platform. The second key is actively searching for your new customers in the app. So the creative ways you can find new customers, if you're new to this and you're like, okay, this is some of these concepts might be a little bit a more advanced than you're used to, let me know afterwards. I'm happy to point you to some like get to know the like base level of Instagram. We're going a little bit deeper just so I can support you in kind of getting traction as quickly as possible. But hashtags, most people know what those are. You can use hashtags. Let me just show my screen really quick. So like here's really relevant, DSM USA. 45,000 people have added that hashtag to their posts. And some of them are business owners and some of them are local residents. If they are using this hashtag, they likely want people to find them based on the hashtag. We don't use hashtags if we don't care about people seeing it. So if you find that hashtag is being used and you go through these posts and you comment meaningfully on this content, you follow those people, you hop in their DMs and start a conversation if they seem like an ideal customer. This is a great way to find new customers to potentially do business with. And, in Des Moines, we have things like Catch DSM, Catch Des Moines, DSM USA, hashtag Des Moines, Iowa. Those are some like simple ones that are easy to look towards that both business owners and customers are using. So you can use that to find new customers. You can search by posts. You can search by profiles and you can search by location. So Instagram allows you to add locations on all of your posts. So you can always add Des Moines. And some people do search for content, using that versus hashtags. By posts, you can, so let's say like, okay, your ideal client or customer, let's say if I'm an ideal customer for you, you can hop over to my profile and look at my posts and see who else has liked my posts and check out who those people are, see if they're local people. Maybe, I would imagine there's some overlap of my audience with who your ideal customers are as well. You can also do it by profile. So you can go to my profile on Instagram, go see who's following me or who I'm following. And, if you're like, yep, she's an ideal client for me, then likely her audience might be as well. So there are so many ways that you can find potential new customers using Instagram. So hashtags, posts, profiles, and then using that location. And so this is just the Instagram hashtag one is just an example. There's my mouse. But that the thing is, like, most people would be like, okay, great, I'm going to go through, I'm going to like all these posts, I'm going to follow them, and then we're good, right? No. We'll get to that in a bit, but that is just the beginning of it. So hang on tight for what's next. The third key is increasing your chances of being found. So this is where hummingbird stuff comes in a little bit, and just general knowledge of understanding consumer behavior in 2021. And I think this research came out way before then. So Nielsen study found that 92% of customers trust recommendations from others, even people they don't know, over branded content. And so when we look at the opportunities with Instagram to hit that share button and add it to stories, which is where a lot of users are hanging out, is Instagram stories, we get to borrow the trust that they have created with their audience. So if I go out and I share, that oat milk latte I was talking about from Zanzibar's, and I share that to my stories and I tag Zanzibar's, they now get the trust that I have built to get closer to a potential customer coming in to buy an oat milk latte or whatever floats their boat. So we want people sharing our stuff as often as possible because we get to borrow that trust. And there's really, it's the same as word of mouth. It's just all happening in the digital space. So just some ideas to get your wheels turning, what it looks like to have highly shareable content and strategies. So here's something that Wildflower did with, just you can see like a list of different brands here. They did a giveaway. So if you've never done a giveaway on Instagram, this can be a great way to grow your audience, to find potential ideal customers, and just collaborate with really cool local business owners. So they did theirs with a lot of different people. This had to be a lot, like a big undertaking to manage all of this. And then basically at the bottom of this post, if you've never done this before, it would be like, go follow these pages, like this post, share and tag us to be entered for this giveaway. So, when if I'm sharing it and my followers are like, oh my gosh, this seems really cool, they'll do the same. And then ultimately someone wins this really great giveaway. I didn't win, by the way. I was pretty bummed about it. So that's a great, and I love the mix of like the giveaway being a collaborative effort as well. I find that individuals who initiate collaborations and partnerships are, I really appreciate that about humans, because it just shows like collaboration over competition, the spirit, like we're in this together, let's help elevate one another. So being someone who spearheads that says a lot about you. So feel free at any time to like reach out to people who would maybe have the same ideal customer as you. The Side Garage did something, I think this was, November 25. So they did the Pay It Forward campaign, shop the online store, and we'll take $5 from every $20 spent to purchase gift cards from small businesses in the Des Moines area. So they're doing like this feel good giveaway. How could you not want to share that with your audience if you see that, to like, you're supporting a local business in the metro, and you're also supporting the broader small business community in Des Moines as well. So you can see here they use like Shop Local, Iowa, Des Moines, because their audience, I think they have e-commerce sales, so their strategy might be a little different with hashtags, but this is great shareable type of content because they're elevating a cause that they support or something they believe in as part of their values, and the customers and people who follow them who align with that are elevating that because they're like, that's cool, I support that, I'm sharing it. Talk about cool things or people in your city. So I came across this. Sarah Hopkins lives in Des Moines, and she does Friday Finds. She just does different episodes. She's a real estate agent. Like, this is a strategy of showing up and adding value to her audience and like getting to know her local community and sharing those experiences with her followers. And she probably shares this on YouTube and further places. But I think this is just such a great way to infuse yourself deeper into the community and say like, hey, I want to highlight you. I want to show up and talk about how awesome you are and tell everyone I know about you. So this is obviously like, she's doing video, it's pretty high quality. This would be quite a bit of an investment. Don't see this and think, oh, wow, like I don't have, like a videographer on my team or a video camera. Like it's called a phone. And if your phone has a camera capability, you could create so many amazing little pieces like this that just every Friday you can feature a brand, a vendor, a person that's really awesome in your community. And when you elevate others, right, you elevate yourself, you elevate the work you do. So something that I like my clients and community and people like you to ask is this something I think my best customers would like and share with their followers? Because again, we're getting back to that customer centric thinking with your content of like, okay, your best customers are probably bringing in most of your revenue. That's typically like the 80-20 Pareto principle rule. So if they really like it and they're really like bought in to your business and your core offering, it's likely that they'll want to share this with their followers as well. So it's just thinking through that, like really taking the step before you go like, I'm going to do this giveaway. It's like, would my best client like this? Do my best clients care about, like, are they aligned with this cause I really believe in? Not that that has to change your beliefs in the cause you care about, but it's just thinking through those things a little bit more intentionally. The fourth key, and probably the most important key in 2021, and I would say probably moving forward in social media in general, is engagement over everything. Engagement over content schedules, beautiful branded photos, posting every single day, engagement over all of that. Gone are the days, like, hear this, like, gone where you can say like, I did my social media and you got it all scheduled in your scheduling planner and you pushed all of this stuff out at the best time your customers like were online. These aren't bad things to do. It's good to have consistency. It's good to create content, but you being part of a conversation happening or starting one with your audience is really what's going to accelerate results from this app specifically. So initiating conversations, it takes more time. Maybe depends how long it takes you to create your content, but really showing up and like, if all you did on Instagram was like post 1 or 2 times a month and just literally show up and engage in DMs and conversations in like the inbox section of Instagram and post on people's stuff and like make people feel seen and worthy and heard, like that would dramatically change how people perceive you. So where do conversations happen? If you're a little bit newer to Instagram or you're like, just kind of relearning, the best place to create or continue conversations is in the DMs. So like, again, this is an inbox, just like an email inbox, but it's more playful. You can add video, you can add voice conversations. I know, just as a quick note, I know that what a local business owner, I heard this story through a friend, said that every time someone buys from her, she follows up and sends a DM like voice memo, like you can do on most apps, I would say. And just as like, thank you so much for your business. It means so much to have your support. I can't wait to see you next time. Like that thoughtful touch takes 5 seconds and it makes customers feel like, oh my gosh, wow, that's so kind. And most people don't know people can send voice notes through Instagram DMs. So they're just like, oh my gosh, I have a voice. I wonder if it was an accident. But it's just this like delightful thing that you can add in people's DMs. And then where else conversations happen on comments, like we're familiar with this, most of us, like social media was, we have the likes, and then you can comment on posts. So this is still a way that you can like consistently add to conversations or follow up in conversations. I wrote like meaningfully comment. You probably participate in this or have been a part of this. Like when it's someone's birthday, you know how someone like writes like happy birthday all over your wall. Like I remember every time it's my birthday, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a lot to sift through. And some are just kind of like, cool, like you pushed a button, you said happy birthday, and that was it. And like, it's not a bad thing, by the way. It's super kind, thoughtful. But you remember the ones where someone's like, says a little bit more, right? Like, and that's to me, that little bit more what sets you apart, what shows you care about the people in your community and the customers you serve. So I add meaningful to this because it's so important. If you write like awesome on comments or like good work, that doesn't necessarily that doesn't make a lasting impression. We want to think about like what's meaningfully said in content to make people feel good. And of course, in your own Instagram stories, if you're doing Instagram stories and people are commenting, where'd you get that? What is that? Tell me more. That's where the conversation continues, and that your stories lead to conversations in DMs in that Instagram inbox. And I wouldn't be me if I didn't include this quote, because I include it in every presentation I've ever given. Maya Angelou said that I've learned that people forget what you said, they'll forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. So, I mean, if I would just make this Instagram presentation as simple as possible, I'd be like, show up on Instagram and make people feel awesome. The end. But I think that's just such a thing that's so often neglected. We like get so stuck in the mechanics of like posting this often and doing these things. And like, if we just made people feel really good and we've made people feel valued and seen and worthy and heard, like as humans, our businesses would grow from that, because we remember those things. We remember how people made us feel for the like in a good way and a bad way. So I just like to throw that in there because I don't like to overcomplicate things when really I can just show up and be make people feel really awesome. And you can too. Use Instagram stories. So this is where users are hanging out. So we talk about user behavior on social media, especially Instagram, not on Facebook, although they have, the stories feature. This is where users hang out. This is like, they make it really easy in Instagram. It's always kind of the first thing you see on your homepage up top. So definitely the Snapchat kind of, vibe. And what's great about Instagram stories is it does accelerate the know, like, trust process. When I'm showing up on stories and diving into, oh my gosh, anything like, here's what we're working on today. We're so excited to bring on a new client to do this presentation with FuseDSM, and that sort of thing is what connects people deeper to who you are. And this is where you differentiate your business with you. This is the personal brand education that maybe some of you have participated in with me in the past that really does separate you from anything you offer in your business. I mean, I think about all of the real estate agents in town, and I think about people who are chiropractors. We have a variety of people in specific services, and even like retail boutiques that are clothing brands. So the differentiating factor is you. And the thing you can do is use your stories to tell stories. You can do it to show us behind the scenes what you're doing in your business. It will seem to you like super superficial is what I was going to say, when you show up and you're just like, oh, here's my coffee. But we have to remember that we're making connection points over and over with people that build trust. So if I'm posting photos of like what my daughter Penelope is wearing, and I'm tagging local brands that she's dressed in, I might find a follower who's like, oh my gosh, I also have an almost 1-year-old. And where did you get that hair clip? I've been wanting that too. And this is how we connect with people, right? It's the everyday things. It's like, what were you up to this weekend? What did you do today? What was the highlight? Like, this is where we hang out as people when we network. So it's totally fine to post about what's going on in your life. Even if you feel like you're like the most boring person ever, someone will resonate with the life you're leading, and it might and bring someone into wanting to have a deeper conversation with you. And this is a little bit more advanced, but you can always turn stories. So stories disappear in 24 hours, like gone. That's also what I love about them. They can go away if you're kind of like, wasn't my best way to show up. But you can add them to highlights. And that's kind of if you go onto Instagram, you open the homepage or your profile page, you have a section under your circle, shows highlights there. And I look at those as like website tabs. So you've got like your homepage, your about page, your services, like, right? This is how you can do it, but your users don't have to leave the app. So I'll show you some examples here. So here is not necessarily a highlight, but a story. What you can do that's really cool is you can use these sticker emojis. So you can say like, what service do you want to see more of in our shop? What product is your favorite that you can't live without? Like, what do you wish we had, but we don't? This is a way that actually engages your followers. And I'm so glad I remembered this, because I was thinking about this morning, how so many people are still stuck in like if I want to get customer feedback or understand something more, I have to create a survey. I have to like really think through the questions. I have to disseminate it. I have to request people to fill it out by a certain time. I have to incentivize them. This is called Instagram polls and Instagram stickers to get rid of that whole process, not entirely always. So I love Instagram polls and stickers because people are already hanging out there. And if you do build your audience of ideal customers, this is where you just ask for that quick like feedback and just kind of gather that, store it somewhere, and use it for later to make decisions for your company. And you can do really simple things like this or that. Like, would you rather have a more diverse massage offering, or do you want to see different types of facials offered at our spot? Like, it's those little things that, they don't necessarily have to sway every decision you make in your business, but they get you into like a little bit more of the minds of your customers in your community. Even if people haven't said they're a buyer yet and they're lingering, they're just following you. You kind of get into a little bit of that when you do these stickers. And of course, it creates a conversation with people like, I can't believe you said you wanted that. Like, what does that mean? Tell me more. Share your reviews. This is something I love talking about. Anything that shortens the trust gap is like my jam, and reviews are that. And I don't feel like local business owners ask for reviews enough. So here's like your permission that you can ask for reviews. You can ask for people to share it on Facebook or Google, depending on what's more of a priority to you. But sharing those, when you get a review, package that up and share it on different platforms. This specifically is on Instagram stories. You could do it in an Instagram post as well. But this is just, imagine someone's coming to your profile for the first time and they're intrigued by what you offer. If you have a highlight full of testimonials and, you're tagging the people who said it, that builds so much credibility so quickly. So the more reviews you have, you can create super simple things. You can screenshot from Google or Facebook. It doesn't have to be like perfectly curated or beautiful. But we think like show up on Instagram profile, shorten that trust gap. What do people say about you? And get that compiled into what is the highlight. So your like web tab. And then you can use stories to educate and add value. So you can share so for an example, for like this workshop, could be followed up with like a summary of that and then visit this link to learn more. I'm not trying to tell you guys how to do your Instagram, just like a quick example of what you've learned about or what you're an expert at and what's coming up, and map that out and then add that to a highlight, or just let it disappear. But if you're going to put work into building something like this, I would put it in a highlight if I were you. So you can do so much with stories, and really, truly, to reemphasize this is where users are spending time right now. And I can't imagine where else they would spend time in this, probably in this year. And when I talk about Instagram stories, people are like, that's stressful. I have to show my face. Like I have to get in front of a camera. And that's not necessarily true, but I think really to just give you a release, like you don't have to show up perfectly. It's just about showing up. Like your customers have already said yes to you. These people who have followed you have already said yes to following you. So show up for them as you are today. And it's perfect the way it is. I do love sharing this. So if you do take this and run with this, one of our students took these strategies and built her dream audience of local followers from Batch Balance. So she's a great account. I was gonna say if you're in Des Moines, we're all in Des Moines. She just really emulates what it looks like to build a local following. So if you don't know her, she is a fun one to follow on the gram and has just done a lot of specific things like incorporating local collaborations and partnerships to grow her impact. So I just wanted to be sure to highlight that because I love the success that she's taken from this type of workshop and run with. Okay, I will answer questions if any, or if there are any comments so far. Oh my gosh, there's 44 in chat. Okay. Trying to just figure out, oh yeah, you guys are telling me who you were. Okay, love this. Go Bulldogs. That's right, Christy. Andy, love it. I'm gonna scroll down to
been having a lot of fun in chat, Emily. Not many questions yet, but okay. Yeah, no, you were having fun too.
That's true. It's the Enneagram 7 in me. I was fearing I was missing out. Oh, I love it. You guys follow each other. This is also one of the things I love about these workshops too. Do share your Instagram handle so we can follow each other and share each other's stuff. let's put this into motion today with each other's stuff. Like that's like what you can do. Yeah, okay, cool. You guys are already kind of doing some of that. Oh, okay. Clubhouse. I could definitely talk about that, Laura. I don't think it's perfect for local brands, but I can get to that at the end when the Q&A session, if we want. Okay, well, I will keep going. I'm gonna take a quick sip of water. Okay. So the outdated strategies you can finally let go of. So when we got started with Instagram, and when Instagram started being that platform, kind of like Facebook, where we were like, oh, it's kind of like a way to build my business and another marketing channel for myself. It was really all about like follower counts, getting likes and comments, and really curating like the perfect content mix. And these just aren't as relevant anymore. So I've heard this and I continue to hear this. And I want to allow you to just like release this if you can. You don't need thousands of followers to have a successful Instagram presence and a successful business, like period. Um, I would rather someone see like 500 highly engaged followers who would say yes to their offer like tomorrow, or even 200 followers, right? For some of us, that would be enough to sustain our business forever. Um, and instead of like trying to hit that 10,000 followers. And I think the issue, when influencer marketing kind of started happening, we started seeing people get 10,000, 20,000, a million. Like we just kind of thought like, oh, wow, if they're doing this, like, shouldn't I be working on growing a bigger followership or follower count? And it just, in a local market, I would much rather see, like for my own clients, like we don't measure follower growth because that's not the end goal. The end goal is increasing sales and understanding where those people are coming from. So ultimately, follower count, I will say, if these are ideal customers, then that's an indicator that you're doing something right with your strategy. So yes, from my perspective, as I look at Love Local and I look at my own account, if I'm seeing people follow me on Love Local specifically, and I'm like, oh, they're a local business and they're like engaging in content and they're hopping into my DMs, that is way more valuable than someone who just like pops over and follows and never says anything again. So if that is something that's been like bothering you, or you're like, well, I only have 150 followers, I would more so see you looking at the insights and analytics inside of Instagram to see how people engage with your stuff. So that leads me to number 2 here. So getting likes and comments. I think so much of us put so much emphasis on likes and comments, and it like almost tells us what our value is sometimes in our business and as a human. So that's a little bit of like mindset work, right? But the likes and comments were highly relevant at one point to understanding how people felt about our content and responded to it. But now, because Instagram is always evolving, there are 4 ways in a content post that you can see your impact. And what's been added is likes, comments, and shares and saves. Based on what I shared earlier, we want more people sharing our stuff probably than any likes, right? Likes, you can just double tap and move on with your day. To take the time to share something, it says something different about your content and your presence. So I would rather see like tons of people sharing my stuff and it getting like 10 likes. I think that doesn't typically happen. If something's shared a lot, it's usually liked a lot as well, but you can also look at saves. So if you're like what's a save? Basically Pinterest, Instagram infuse like the Pinterest element of saving things to, I don't think it's to like a board. It's probably called something specific. I don't actually know immediately off the top of my head, but you can save something. If you open a post and you see like a little like flag in the corner, it allows you to hit save and then you can categorize. So if I see a post I really like, and I'm like, oh, that looks like a good podcast episode, but I'm not going to remember this person's handle. Like I found them after like I just found them randomly. you can save that into like whatever categorization you want. Or like if I found an outfit for Penelope, like, okay, that goes in the Penelope folder in my saves. We want to see people saving your stuff because they refer to it later. Maybe it's because it's edutainment, or it's like, oh, I didn't realize if I stretch this way, or if I was looking for a new house, I should consider this. Or if I was like thinking about public speaking, I should consider this. Like, these are the things that we want people to save because it means that they found it valuable enough that they want to refer back to it later. So likes, cool. That takes like not even a full second to do. What's more meaningful in Instagram Insights today are those shares and those saves. So we really want to think about how we get content shared and saved. And then obviously having the perfect plan to push out content, as I shared before, like treating Instagram like a billboard where you just push things out because you have this event coming up and this promo. It's not a bad thing to do, right? Like, we want to share what's going on in our business because our customers probably want to see it, but there's no perfect thing. Some people, I mean, the most common question I get, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's in here right now, how many times do I post? People, I get it. A lot of you type A people want like a plan. You want to know what's the secret sauce, right? There is none. It's really annoying, but there really isn't. I always tell people, like, if you're going to start baseline, because you need to start measuring your insights and how your audience engages with your stuff, like 3 posts a week. If you're actually getting super into Instagram, and you're like, this is the channel I'm going to grow in 2021. If you're just going to dabble there, just do 1 a week, maybe 1 every other week, and focus only on engagement. There I am, like giving you a formula, but there really, really isn't. And I'll show you why in a little bit. I can never see my little mouse. Okay, there it is. And finally, the one thing you need more than anything else, the biggest thing that I understand and hear about in my DMs and conversations with the community, local business owners, is a strategy, right? Like, this is why there's no like one size fits all for any business at all. Because some of you may be like super excited to show up and do Instagram stories and show us your face and like do these segments where you're highlighting, doing Instagram lives. Like, you might be into that. That might be for you. Some of you like probably like won't be into that. And you're like, no, I really just want to elevate the benefits of my product and service and what differentiates ourselves. And so you got to know who you are and how you want to show up, and maybe like allow yourself to get a little uncomfortable just so you can gain some familiarity with some of the features. But ultimately, the biggest concern people have, or the biggest frustration, is they don't know the strategy. They don't know what it could look like for them. So hopefully the content gave you some ideas on how to structure some of the things that will increase your know, like, trust process and get you into new places and new markets and new audiences, but also deepen relationships. So when I think about a solid strategy that supports the buyer's journey, it's just getting into kind of basic buyer psychology. So, or the buyer's process, right? Someone's never heard of your brand before. Surprise, surprise, right? And then what are we going to do to help them hear about you? So that's like, fine, using those hashtags, following people, creating collaborations and giveaways. And then what happens in the process that someone's like, oh, that's cool. That giveaway looks cool. Who is this? What is the wildflower? What's the example? I'm going to hop over to their profile. Oh my gosh, I've been looking for a gift for my mom for Mother's Day. Oh, this looks cool. I could get her flowers, but look at, like, they have all this other stuff too. Actually, like, I love flowers. I'm going to follow this brand. And then they're like, scrolling through the highlights or looking at any stories. Like, this is the point in the brand experience where you're like interested, where before it would have been like they go to your website, right? Now it's like you just like kind of start stalking on Instagram. You might go down, scroll far enough down that you've hit 2013. I don't know. It's really how much time you have to spend on Instagram, but hopping over to their profile, and you want people to the right ideal customer to say yes, to follow. That's like that first date experience. And then that starting a conversation in DMs is really the beginning of a relationship, is really that. So I guess that's really more of that first date. Okay. The hopping over to your profile is more like swiping, right? I've been married for like 5 years, so I haven't used this. Maybe that's not how it works anymore, but it's like saying, I'm interested, right? I'm going to follow. Starting the combo is really like, okay, I want to learn more, and I'm willing to ask you in a private conversation. So instead of an email inbox, it's the DM inbox. And I'm curious about your services. Am I the right fit? Like, oh my gosh, I saw you posted this candle the other day. I want to know more about it. Do you still have any available? That's like the beginning, the relationship. That DM conversation is really, we want to get people in the DMs. We want sales too, but that's typically where you can accelerate that. And then the next step on your brand journey is like actually buying the thing that you sell and engaging in that next step. Some people it's like booking a call, some people it's like making an appointment. You've built up enough trust in the content you've created and the conversations in DMs and the collaborations, partnerships for that person to be like, okay, cool. Like, I'm in. Let me give this brand a try. And then inside that brand journey, which is not an Instagram itself, but they have such a great experience that they become a loyal customer. That's like what we want, right? We want loyal customers if we have the opportunity to create retention with our offering. And we would not only want them to be a loyal customer, but we want them to be like raving fan level where they're like leaving reviews, they're referring people, they're like taking your post and sharing it over to their mother-in-law or their neighbor. And they're like, you have to check this out. So they're doing it in DMs and they're doing it IRL in real life. And that is the strategy to build that. A lot of people, let me see. A lot of people focus, this is the ugliest tree I could find. No, there were better trees, but I really wanted to, so long story short, this is an ugly tree. A lot of people focus here. It's a lot of people will talk to you about visibility. That's why you get bots in your inbox and Instagram that will say like, you want more followers? Hire us. We're like $5 a month. And you're like, what is this spammy thing? But people are obsessed with selling visibility. And makes sense, right? Like we all need to generate new business from time to time. But what I want to show you is like, this is the tree. The middle here is the strategy. So knowing and understanding that, yes, you need visibility to book new business, to increase your revenue, to grow, right? But I am way more fascinated and interested in retention. And not only like retention of this person comes back again and again, but like this person feels like they're part of something. And that's probably a different conversation for another time, but feeling like so proud to be aligned with your business and like your core offering and you as the business owner that they want to talk about you. Like if they can't help but talk about you, you become that legacy brand the more you focus on the retention strategies. Not to mention attracting new customers will cost your company to 5 to 25 times more than keeping an existing customer. There's so much obsession on new, shiny object syndrome. I get it. While a mere 5% increase in customer retention can increase a company's profitability by 75%. So what does this mean for you? It means showing up for your customers. So when you see a customer is like out celebrating her birthday, you send a meaningful DM to her and say like, ask her how the celebration was, like, or notice it and send snail mail, take it to that next level. This is what we can use Instagram for, to show up for people who have said yes to our offer, because the likelihood is if they've said yes once and had a good experience, they'll want to say yes again and again because they've got over that whole hump of like, should I even trust you? Like, who even are you? So that is my ugly tree drawing. And I didn't draw it, got it on Canva, and that you can focus here with the retention of engaging your existing customers. So the overview, the keys to IG success in 2021, all about your customer, right? What does the customer want to see? What does he want to learn about? She want to learn about? What do they care about? Actively searching for new customers and business allies instead of just posting and being like, well, I hope that brings in the right people. You get to do the work to find people if you choose. And creating share-worthy content is next. So really thinking, what would my customer love to see and what would they enjoy sharing to their network? And next is engagement over everything, right? These are good. This is part of the things, the strategies that will work for your local business. But really it's the conversations. Haven't you noticed this in your own business too? The minute you have a conversation with someone who's like on the fence or interested in what you have to offer, like that's what leads them to take that next step with you. This is exactly what you can do, but you don't have to talk to anyone. You can just do it like with your thumbs in an inbox. So do not dismiss this. That's one of the most important. And then using Instagram stories, just because that's where users are hanging out. It feels more lighthearted, easy to engage, easy to show up. So Instagram is really, it can be the place for you to connect, share, explore, and grow your local business. So of course, it doesn't work if you don't create your own strategy and implement it though. So hopefully these gave you the bones of what it looks like to create an effective presence in 2021. And that is my presentation. thanks, Trish.
Oh, wonderful. Well, thank you, Emily. I know that you're offering to take some questions right now. So
Heck
if anyone has any questions.
Yeah, I'm open. We were practicing the entire time you're speaking. Good. I know that's the great thing about this is like you can just like pull up your phone and maybe kind of visualize some of the things I'm describing.
Emily.
Yeah.
So I operate a lot more in the world of strategy and content mapping, but I don't always keep up on all of the tactics. I'm trying to get better because I really used to focus on it a lot, and I haven't posted actually for a while. I think during the pandemic, I used to go out to events and I used it to post when I was out in the world, and then I just wasn't out in the world anymore. So I kind of went quiet. So it's given me a lot of great ideas. But in particular, the one where you ask the question in the Instagram story about like your favorite flavor or whatever, is that just something that can be easily found like in filters and things?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. It will just say, cool. I think it's called question sticker. So you would have a picture or video and then layer that question sticker inside of the story part.
And then they can type right in it, or they just don't. Okay, perfect.
They get like a limited amount of characters, which is good, but like you can gather some feedback. And then I find it a little tricky. Once you've like posted it and people are populating, you'll get notified in your like where you get notifications, and you will open that, and then you have to click in the bottom left corner to open all of it. But I always like try to respond individually to everyone who takes time to answer questions, especially if they're meaningful responses, just because again, the next step in building that relationship. So yeah.
Emily, there's a couple questions in the chat also from Cassie.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Length of videos and
let's see.
Yeah.
Any specific B2B strategies? Yeah. I mean,
there's one, I'm sorry, I was looking at one from Cassie about length of videos, or do people like short clips or longer ones?
Okay, yeah, I'll answer Cassie. So, hey Cassie, length of videos, the shorter the better, unless your ideal customer really, really wants you to hone in on something you're truly an expert at that like can solve a pain point. Right. I think that's when those longer ones, people are willing to stick around. Like some of the stuff you do with your services, if you could break those down, for example, and show like, well, if you can't book an appointment this week, but you're experiencing XYZ, like here's what you can do at home, and then save that to a highlight. I think that's totally fine to do in like an IGTV and then save it to your profile. But I think short clips tend to just attention spans were awful. Under 2 minutes, under 30 seconds. Oh, we get this is the details. If it's good content, people will watch. So that's to me, like if what you're saying is compelling and you bring your energy to it, I think it doesn't really matter. Instagram will give you, like if you hold this story, I think it's a minute long is how long you get for 4 stories to go together, and then it'll cut you off. So you could use that as a philosophy, this like kind of follow they think 1 minute's long enough. So you could follow that, and always add captions on your stories. You guys, if you're doing a video and you're talking, most people aren't going to turn up their volume if they're like, me and try to put my kid to sleep. I'm like watching stories, but not turning up the volume. So caption everything in your stories. I didn't mention that, but here we are.
And I'm sorry, I didn't see Andy's question.
Yeah. Andy, B2B. So yeah, I mean, B2C is way easier for sure on Instagram, but I think about those relationship building with potential clients who are on there. And this one, like Instagram for every single B2B, like probably isn't the most effective, but I just think about like us meeting and like potentially we could have started our first conversation inside of Instagram, just like something you shared, like, oh, I didn't know that about like what you offered. Let's schedule a time to get to know you more. Or like you want to be careful with this, but like maybe you notice something that someone does in their business and you're like, hey, like your website's really intriguing. Did you know this link is broken or something? Just like add value. That would be my idea, but it is a little bit different for sure. It's not quite as fun in my opinion. Oh yeah, Nate, I'm so glad you're here. anyone isn't thanks for being my follower rep. I appreciate that. Did I get anyone? Can't find stuff. Okay. I think I got everyone.
I think so too. Yeah.
And I'm happy if things come up later, you're like, I don't want to ask this publicly, because some people are like, I don't know about half the things you just said, but I want to. Feel free to DM, or I can pop I'll just drop my email here. If people are like, tell me more things, I'm more than happy to. It's one of my favorite things. How do I find the right person to put this all together for me? Well, I mean,
think you're talking to the right person.
I think, yeah, if you want someone to build your strategy, I'm happy to have a conversation just to see if it's the right fit. But there are lots of people in the social space too in this community. So I'm always happy to look at other options as well. So yeah, if you want to shoot me an email, just tell me what you're looking for, that'd be great.
So Emily, this is Trish. Sorry, I'm trying to get my camera back on, but
Okay.
I have a question. So when you talk about building strategy, so do you help a business build their strategy, or do you actually implement it for them too? Or do you do both? Because I say, that one thing we struggle with a lot is strategy. And so, but as a chamber, I'm not sure that we can afford the strategy because we promote our members. So we have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people that we promote. So I guess that's my question is for any business, but for ours as well. You design a strategy that we can implement, or do you also do the implementation?
Yep. So yes to all of it. Like basically
Okay.
when we get together with a client who's like, my social media game like needs help, whether it's Facebook and Insta, which are the main two most people in local businesses hang out. When we do the work, we look at Google Analytics to see what traffic's coming from social. We look at insights inside the app, and we talk with the business owner, like, how are you willing to show up as the business owner? Like, are you willing to dedicate the time? Because if you're not, then we have to build a different strategy around that. And just like build something that focuses on that visibility, but it also focuses on that retention. And, if you have some really, really solid chamber people, it's investing in those brands and those people and finding them on social and making sure that like you're showing up for them. So yeah, strategy. Some people are like, cool, I'm going to run with this. I'm going to like, here we go. I just needed the brain behind it. And, some people are like, this is good, but like, I still don't want to do it. So then we formulate a plan that works, within their budget. And we try to like be super fair and bring in the right resources to make it happen for local brands. So yeah.
Excellent. Thank you.
And McKenna, what got you so interested in social media? I'm like a basic millennial. I mean, I definitely am an early adopter in a lot of ways. I love new things. And I love that it makes connecting with people so accessible. When I was in college, I started a blog kind of when blogs were kind of being like cool. And I realized how amazing it was that on Friday, I would call it Friday Fives. And on Friday mornings, I would post my Friday Fives before the algorithm was a thing, like 7 a.m. I like didn't miss a beat. And people responded immediately. And I was like, this is a really cool way for me to make an impact in a positive, and positively contribute to my community and my friends and family. And I see the negative sides of social, but I see way more positives, and the friends and people I've met from social media alone, like, has been really rewarding. So I love technology. Best email, I popped it up here. It's hello@lovelocal.co. I'll paste it down here again. Actually, I'll just privately message it to you. Can I do that? Yeah. Here we go. Any other questions I can answer for anyone? Well, that's okay. There you go.
All right. Well, Emily, thank you so much for sharing. And this has been a great. Oh, Laura, you got one more?
Oh, well, I was just gonna at the very end here. Did you have 2 seconds to say something about Clubhouse?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anyone want to know what Clubhouse is? Another social media app, but it's all audio. So you can hop in there. It's invite only at this point, and you can just like riff on a topic you are really passionate about. I think it's a great app for thought leaders. I wouldn't spend time there if you were a local business owner unless you truly want a platform that's national, which is nothing wrong with that. A lot of our clients want a national audience, and if you want that, Clubhouse could be great. But
Yeah.
that's my short answer.
Interesting.
Gotcha.
I've never heard of that. Hey, Emily, will you be, are we going to send out your presentation? Or would you just prefer, because we will, this is recorded, and of course, I will send it out to all of you or allow Emily to, and you know, that's up to her. This is obviously proprietary training information, and we are so grateful that you did this for us, so I appreciate it. But yeah, we don't want to, are we going to send out I just had that question asked.
Yeah, anyone can do this. The more people who can find help from this, the better. So feel free to share it near and far.
Great. If you want to send that to me, then when we get this video uploaded to our channel, we will send this out to those that were registered.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Wonderful.
And Emily, make sure your contact information is on those slides then. So
Oh,
people
yeah.
can follow up with you. Yeah. Yeah.
That's true. If you guys want to add it to the YouTube description, that'd be great. I'll send you some deets.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing today. And thanks for everyone who is able to stay on here to the end. This has been fantastic. I know some people had to leave a little bit early, but this has been great. Do check out the chamber calendar. Make sure you're aware of the upcoming events and take advantage of those opportunities. You're already paying for the membership, and there's some great opportunities coming up on the calendar. So thanks for coming, everyone. Once again, thanks to MediaCom Business for sponsoring today. Have a great day.
Thank you.
You.